on an all-new Dr. Phil.
Your daughter is hooking.
Don't knock it till you try it.
She's 21,
Are you concerned that she's an escort?
And that she's a deadbeat mom.
a young mother,
You said your son means everything to you. Why is your mother raising your son instead of you?
with no place to call home.
It doesn't bother you that you are with a bunch of weirdos?
You bother me.
Ivy and I have been best friends since the 6th grade.
She never showed up until Ivy started having money.
That is so funny because
Are you gonna let me talk?
Nice of a person
Are you gonna
I
let
am,
me talk?
How much I have
Are
my
you gonna
stuff
let me
together.
talk?
Clearly not.
You are such a hood rat.
Okay, I'll be a hood rat and you're a horrible mom.
Let's do it.
Have a good show, everybody. Here we go.
This is a safe place to talk about hard things.
Stand by. We'll count you down.
Today is going to be a changing day in your life.
5, 4.
I am not giving up on you. Thank you very much. Well, now Faith says she looks at her 21-year-old daughter Ivy's Facebook each morning in order to see if she's safe. Really, she's looking to see if she is alive. Because Ivy has been working a dangerous job as an escort for over 2 years. Now, meanwhile, Faith is a full-time babysitter to her daughter's 4-year-old son and claims to pay thousands of dollars a year to cover all of his food, clothing, medical expenses, and daycare while he lives with her. Now, she says she's desperate for her daughter to step up and be a mother to her son. But Ivy says she's confused as to why her mother is pretending to be concerned and complaining to me because she says her mother has never voiced her concerns to her at all. But Mom Faith says her daughter needs a wake-up call. Now, Faith says Ivy's leg was run over by a car during a street altercation, so she fears it's only a matter of time before she gets even more seriously hurt or even killed. Take a look.
I'm desperate for help for my 21-year-old daughter. At 15, she got pregnant and had a baby boy. She then dropped out of school. I really didn't think that things could get any worse. But for the last 2.5 years, my daughter has been working as a prostitute. I was completely floored, and I had no idea what to do.
I feel like my mom is kind of making a big deal out of all this. It's addicting. It's kind of like a rush.
My daughter Ivy has pimps that she calls boyfriends that control her.
My mom is absolutely crazy.
Ivy denies that she has a pimp right now, but I do not believe her. These pimps are very abusive and dangerous. My daughter has shown up at my home with bruises. Last year, Ivy told me that one of her pimps even held a gun to her head.
There's definitely danger and stuff in this line of work, but I mean, I feel like I'm smart.
One time, Ivy got into an argument with one of the pimp's other girls. This girl ran her over with the car. She hit her leg and broke it. Ivy refused to press charges. She was afraid of retribution from her pimp. When Ivy started escorting, Ivy left our home and left her son with me. So I've become a full-time mother to my grandson. There's times where Ivy will go several months without seeing her son. When Ivy does come over, she will only spend about an hour with him before she's either taking a nap, she's on her phone, or planning to go to work that night as an escort. I think that my daughter is a deadbeat mom. I pay for his childcare, his clothes, his food, the medical bills. Ivy has given me maybe $500 to raise my grandson. If she won't step up to take care of her son, then I have no other option than to fight for full custody. My greatest fears is that I'm gonna turn on the TV and find out that my daughter Ivy has been murdered. I don't know how I would tell my grandson that his mom is gone forever.
Okay, so you don't like the situation, obviously.
No, I hate the situation.
Are you concerned that she's an escort, or are you concerned that she's a deadbeat mom?
I'm concerned, both. I'm concerned that she's an escort, that she's a deadbeat mom, and that she doesn't take care of her son. If she does not change and step up to the plate immediately, I plan on taking full custody of this little boy because he is what's most important here, period.
Do you want to be a mother again? Do you want to
No.
raise a 4-year-old?
No, absolutely not.
So you would do that by default because there's no other alternative. But you're doing that right now.
Oh yeah, I'm a full-time
You're
mom.
raising the child right now.
Every day I do everything.
Now she says, no, no, no. I see this child all the time.
Oh no, she's full of it. She's totally full of it.
How much has she seen the child in the last 4 or 5 months?
3 or 4 times.
She's not seeing him 3 or 4 times a week.
Oh, absolutely not. No. And there'll be stretches of time where she doesn't see him for months.
Okay. All right. So that's the mother part of this. Let's talk about the escort part. Your daughter is hooking.
Right. Yeah, she is.
What do you think about that?
Well, for one, I think calling it escort is kind of making it sound nice. I mean, at the end of the day, she's a prostitute. She goes and she claims to make $7,000 a week, but I don't see any of it. And she could be killed. She told me that she had a gun held to her head.
Does it bother you that she's selling her body?
Absolutely. Yeah, because
that doesn't seem to come up. You talk about the danger, you talk about the money, you talk about her being a deadbeat mom. It doesn't seem to come up in the conversation the moral aspect, the demeaning aspect of her selling her body.
Yeah, you're right.
She says that she only sees regulars, that she doesn't like go with strange people, that she just knows some people and she goes with them. Well, that doesn't make it okay, but then actually we've gone online and she actually does advertise for strangers. She says, my place only, inappropriate language or questions will get you blocked. So like she does have standards here, but these are her pictures that she puts up, and we had to blur some of these. And where does she meet these people?
She bounces from hotel to hotel.
Okay. And she doesn't know anything about them.
Oh, no, nothing. Well, supposedly there's this site that you can go to where you can read their reviews. The Tricks reviews. You can see if they're good, what they're into, you know, if they're safe, if they're a weirdo. So this is like all, I mean, that's good to know, right?
And who rates them?
Escorts.
You say that she got into this because she says she doesn't have a pimp or someone that represents her. She says she's independent, but you don't believe that.
I know that to not be true because I've met them.
Okay, well, she says right now she's independent. And you said the first time she had someone that she said they promised her the stars, just told her that everything was how great they were
baby, we're going to make all this money. You'll be able to take care of your son. You can do this, you can do that. We'll be living that, you know, like they're going to be in Beverly Hills or something. And they're in a ratty old motel.
And you think that relationship got to be abusive?
Oh, yeah.
Because you saw bruises and that sort of thing.
Yeah, she would come over with bruises.
These are the bruises that we're talking about.
That's when she was run over by the car.
Okay, that's when she got hit by the car?
Yeah.
And the car was another girlfriend of one of the pimps.
I wouldn't call it a girlfriend. I mean, she was an escort, so.
Okay, it was one of the other girls.
Correct.
Okay, and she didn't press charges?
No, he talked her out of it.
They just ran over her with a car?
Yes.
Okay. And did you call the cops?
Yes, I did. I drove her down to the police station.
Okay, but she didn't press charges?
Right, and because she was over 18, there's nothing I can do. She has to be the one to do it.
Okay.
The black that you see there was
necrotic skin.
Dying skin, and they thought that they might have to do skin grafts.
Okay. So what did this cost?
Oh, I mean, I just threw an average out there, probably about $100,000. The bills came in.
And who paid for that?
Nobody. They're sitting there unpaid.
Have you told her that you think it's wrong to do this?
Yes, I have.
And what does she say?
She says that it's no big deal. It's perfectly fine. She knows what she's doing. Oh, but Mom, you made mistakes when you were young.
What kind of mother were you? You're talking about her being a mother. What kind of mother were you to her?
I feel like I was a good mom. I love my children, but I failed to protect them. So I was not good at all. I failed her miserably.
Well, we'll talk about that. Well, Ivy's here. Now, she claims that her mother is sneaky, manipulative, and while she likes to tell her that escorting is wrong, she has no problem taking the money that she makes from it. So we're going to hear what Ivy has to say about all this when we come back.
Basically what I do is I place ads on the internet and we'll get together and we'll just chit chat for a little while. I got into escorting because I realized how much money I could make and how easy I could make it. Yeah. Like if you want to judge me, what I have to say to you is don't knock it till you try it.
And later, do y'all not like each other?
No, actually, I've never had any problems.
That is so funny.
Are you gonna let me talk?
She has
Are you
the
gonna let me
whole
talk?
time.
Are you
I've
gonna
said
let me
how
talk?
Nice of a person
Are you
I
gonna
am.
let me talk?
I'm clearly not.
Next on Love and Marriage Huntsville.
I think I saw an interview, and they asked Mel how she doing with Martell's new boo thing. Oh, she felt probably happier when he was leveling down. But the level up is kind of a gut punch.
Hey, Martell?
Hey, what up? And don't keep me outside all this damn heat.
Yeah, it's outside today.
You gonna invite me to that house? Don't play with me like that.
Love and Marriage Huntsville. New episode, Saturday at 8/7 Central.
There is nothing hotter than real, honest to goodness love.
Mama wanna tell you where it's at. I wanna get that.
I was made for this.
Get with it or get lost. You dropped the ball big time.
I'm throwing y'all my very own Miami yacht party.
It just shook up all of the dynamics.
Y'all ready for this?
Postmenopausal women with HR-positive, HER2-negative metastatic breast cancer are living longer with Kisqali. So long live family time. Long live dreams. And long live you. Kisqali is a pill proven to help women live longer when taken with an aromatase inhibitor. And Kisqali helps preserve quality of life, so you're not just living, you're living well. Kisqali can cause lung problems or an abnormal heartbeat, which can lead to death. It can cause serious skin reactions, liver problems, and low white blood cell counts that may result in severe infections. Avoid grapefruit during treatment. Tell your doctor right away if you have new or worsening symptoms, including breathing problems, cough, chest pain, a change in your heartbeat, dizziness, yellowing of the skin or eyes, dark urine, tiredness, loss of appetite, abdomen pain, bleeding, bruising, fever, chills, or other symptoms of an infection, a severe or worsening rash, or plan to become pregnant or breastfeeding. Long live hugs and kisses. Ask about Kisqali, and long live life.
Here we go, y'all.
We're going ice skating.
You got it, Chuck. Come on, come on.
Colorful and thoughtful and beautiful. You having your kind of holiday is our kind of holiday. Ulta Beauty. The possibilities are beautiful.
Bring home a spellcasting adventure with the Harry Potter Magicaster wand.
Stupefy!
Connect your smart devices, cast spells, and witness the magic come to life. Lights.
Lumos Maximum.
Sounds.
Media loading.
And your TV.
Expecto Patronum. Cool.
The Harry Potter Magicaster wand. Order now.
When I think about why my daughter wanted to be an escort, I do not know why. I think she started escorting because it gave her some sort of status. She feels empowered. She thinks that she's a down-ass bitch. When I think about my daughter going from client to client, it makes my stomach spin. At this point in time, Ivy is completely sucked in and lost in this lifestyle. It's almost like a cult.
Well, 21-year-old Ivy admits she has worked as an escort for the past 3 years. Now, she says the streets can be dangerous, but her mother, Faith, never seemed concerned about her safety until she contacted me to talk about it. Now, Ivy claims as long as she forks over cash to her mother, there just aren't any issues, which she says makes her mother hypocritical and conniving. Take a look.
Basically what I do is I place ads on the internet and we'll get together and we'll just chit chat for a little while, just hang out. The people that I meet, they're regular people, just like me. I got into escorting because I realized how much money I could make and how easy I could make it. On a good day, I could make like up to $1,000. Like a really good week, maybe $7,000. And it's all tax-free. Now, I could never fathom working for $9.95 an hour. With escorting, I did have one bad experience. He gave me the money and then he tried to take it back from me and I wouldn't give it back to him. So he ended up giving me a black eye. I have the cutest baby boy. He's 4, and he means everything to me. I don't feel like I'm a strict parent at all. I feel like anything my son wants, I give it to him. You know, if he wants to eat candy for breakfast or stay up late, I'll let him do it. I want people to like see that I'm there for him and think I'm a cool mom. At the moment, my mom is taking care of my son. We had a mutual agreement about her taking care of my son, so this is kind of just, I don't really understand what's the big deal. Every time my mom calls me and asks me for money, I'm on my way to give it to her. I never tell her no. I think the most important thing for people to know about me is that I'm a good girl at heart. Just because I do what I do, I don't feel like that defines me. I feel like if you want to judge me, what I have to say to you is, don't knock it till you try it.
Okay, don't knock it till you try it. Right?
I guess that is what I said, isn't it?
Is this what you want to be doing in your life?
It doesn't bother me. Like, I don't wake up every day like, you know? Like, I hate this.
It doesn't bother you that you like are with a bunch of weirdos every day? That doesn't bother you? You're okay with that?
Sometimes it bothers me, but
And
you bother me.
And you don't get scared about it?
No, I
You're
don't
not
get
worried?
scared. No, I don't get scared.
Okay.
Well, you should get scared.
Well, tell me what you're thinking about this is. You've chosen to be a prostitute, right?
Well, I actually started doing that when I got ran over. I was dancing first.
What do you say to yourself about it? You say you make good money, right?
Yeah, I make good money.
You can make as much as, you said you made as much as $7,000 a week?
If you work consistently, you could do that. Yeah.
And how much of that do you keep?
None. She keeps none. He gets all of it.
Who's he?
You know who he is.
No, he isn't.
Okay?
And
No
I told you
home.
I wasn't doing this, and I told you I was not going to do this.
No
so don't
home,
do
no
it.
car.
Because I'll walk off. I told her I'm not doing this.
Do what?
This, talk about whatever she's trying to do. I already told you we're not doing that. Me and you had issues way before.
I know that.
Okay, so address those.
You said your son means everything to you.
Yeah, I do care about him. I love him.
Yeah, I'm sure you do, and I don't doubt that at all. Your mother says that you've seen your son a handful of times over the last several months.
Well, that is true because I distance myself from my mom. There will be points in time, like 3 months at a time, where I don't call her or talk to her because I don't want to be around her.
Why is your mother raising your son instead of you?
I just don't want to have him with me in the position I am right now.
You couldn't have him with you.
I could. I'll take him if I want to. I'll take him.
And you know
right
who would
after
take
this.
him right back? The
Who,
state.
you?
The state would take him.
Okay, we'll have
He'd be
to
gone.
do that
If it
then.
wasn't for me, he would be lost in the system, and we
And
all
I know
it.
that, and I've already told you thank you a million times for taking care of him and being
Well,
there for
thank me
him.
by changing. Do something for him.
This is the only thing I've ever done. I got into this. I had never had a regular job before. And when I got into this, this is just what happened. And then my mom kicked me out when she found out I was doing this, and then it just kept me in that same position. And then every time when I try to like leave the situation and stop doing this, now we're here on Dr. Phil.
Right now, the way you earn and manage money is very different because you advertise your services on the websites, right? And you charge $300 an hour, okay? And you make up $5,000 to $7,000 a week on a good week. You don't say you make that every week.
Yeah, and that's like if I'm working every day. I really haven't even been working or doing anything for like the last month or so, or whenever I moved back in with Olivia.
You haven't worked in a month?
That's totally a lie.
I didn't say I haven't worked in a month, but I haven't really been working every day.
I was at work the day before we flew out so that she could have money while she was here.
And the money to pay for your spray tan, right?
You offered it. You said I'll pay for it.
Okay, but if it's a big deal, if it's that big of a deal, wouldn't you say, no, Ivy, it's okay, I'll pass?
No, because
exactly.
I raised your son.
Exactly.
And you're going to give me some money one way or the other.
Exactly, and how do I get it? One way or the other, right? Exactly.
Well, I think her point is if you have such a problem with what she's doing, then you wouldn't want fruit from the poison tree.
Exactly my point.
I've never thought of it like that before, but you're absolutely right.
Okay. Well, coming up, we're going to meet Olivia, Ivy's best friend for the past 11 years, who says Faith's bad parenting is the real reason Ivy does not have a sense of right and wrong. And by the way, you've not presented yourself to us as a paragon of parenting. You've not said,
no.
I'm the perfect parent.
Oh, no.
So we'll
Just
talk
wait,
about
guys.
that. We'll be right back.
My feelings about Ivy working as an escort, I'm terrified. I definitely do blame Faith for a lot of the issues that Ivy has in her life today. Her mom was just never involved as a parent. I really do feel like Ivy's lost. I feel like she needs a lot of help. She just needs guidance, and that's something that Faith has failed to do throughout her life.
And later, you maintained a relationship with the predator that molested your daughter.
She still does to this day.
I could not break free of that relationship.
Real, honest to goodness love.
Mama wanna tell you where it's at. I wanna get that.
I was made for this.
Get that. Baby, I wanna
Y'all ready for this?
It's me, Pete Davidson, here to tell you about the most amazing breakfast you could ever dream of, according to me. The Breakfast Crunch Wrap. Fluffy eggs, sausage, hash browns. That's the Bell Breakfast way.
Sir, you gonna order?
Yeah, I'll take a breakfast crunch thing.
Colorful and thoughtful and beautiful. You having your kind of holiday is our kind of holiday. Ulta Beauty. The possibilities are beautiful.
Let's go again. One more.
One more, man.
Oh, man. All right, little bro.
Want more?
Started yesterday. The time traveling. I was here. Suddenly, I wasn't here.
My mother is alive. She's been stuck there.
Am I crazy? You don't believe me, do you?
FX's Kindred. Only on Hulu.
Meet Litter Robot, the revolutionary self-cleaning litter box that eliminates the chore of scooping, reduces litter tracking, and traps odors. And Litter Robot provides real-time updates. Litter Robot by Whisker.
Easy credit building, early payday, fee-free overdrafts.
Thank you.
It's banking the way it should be. Chime, the #1 most loved banking app.
It's a new leader in town.
Are you the one just threatening me? Baby, dad here. That's what I say. Come for me, go low. If you want to, I'm going to hell. Okay?
Sunday.
Janelle has made it pretty clear to me that she's enjoying her life without me.
So are you separated?
We've been separated for several months.
What?
The Sister Wives 3-part tell-all starts Sunday at 10 on TLC.
When it comes to my mom, I feel like I get a lot of mixed messages. On one hand, she wants me to support myself and take care of my son, and then on the other hand, she doesn't want me to be an escort.
I get a lot of mixed messages. I feel like she cares, she wants to be there, but her actions show a totally different thing.
I feel like my mom is hypocritical. Not even a full year ago, she called me up and asked me, how to post an ad. I feel like she's a little bit manipulative and a little bit conniving. I feel like she's up to some sneaky stuff, as we can see.
Well, 21-year-old Ivy says when her mother, Faith, found out she was working as an escort over 2 years ago, she put her things on the porch of their home and told her she had to leave, and leave without her baby son. Now, since that time, Ivy has moved from house to house and in and out of hotels. Now, according to Faith, a pimp recently threw her out of her last hotel. That's when she moved in with her best friend, Olivia, who believes Faith's bad parenting is the reason why Ivy does not have a better sense of right and wrong.
Ivy and I have been best friends since the 6th grade.
We're super close, like sisters. She knows everything about me.
My feelings about Ivy working as an escort, I'm terrified. She could be raped, she could be kidnapped. Ivy feels like she's untouchable. But Ivy's mentality has always kind of been like, I have sex anyway, so I might as well get paid for it. I tell her she should get a job, but I don't want her to feel like she can't come talk to me, or I'm judging her, or I'm not there for her. I think what Ivy needs to do is really just focus on her and her son. I definitely do blame Faith for a lot of the issues that Ivy has in her life today. Her mom was just never involved as a parent. I remember when we were in the 7th grade, Ivy had this boyfriend that was like 22 or 23, and her mom had no problem with it. Personally, I feel like Faith is more interested in her personal appearance and her relationship with the men that come in and out of her life more than she's been interested in her relationship with her daughter. I really do feel like Ivy's lost. I feel like she needs a lot of help. She just needs guidance, and that's something that Faith has failed to do throughout her life, and that's why we're in the position that we're in.
Well, Olivia, thank you for being here. Yeah. I really appreciate it. Tell me, you've been involved with this family and known her since she was how old?
Like 12.
So a good while.
No.
No, it's not true.
Yes, it is true. We met in the 6th grade. How old are you?
Have you guys hung out every single day? Were you there for her pregnancy?
Actually, the reason I wasn't
The
there
only
for her
time you
pregnancy
showed up
was
when she
because I was
started-
in California. My mom, when I started doing things that she was doing, sent me like a real mother to California to go live with my dad. That's why I wasn't there when Ivy was pregnant. I was there through her pregnancy.
No,
I wasn't there when she had her baby.
She never showed up until Ivy started having money.
Did you?
That is so funny because that's the whole issue right now.
You are such a hood rat.
Okay, I'll be a hood rat and you're a horrible mom.
Whoa. Have you ever heard of the FCC?
No, she's not that smart. She's not that smart. Mom, she runs a tanning bed.
Stop, everybody, Can I?
I work at a tanning salon. What job do you have?
Stop talking.
Right.
Stop talking for a second. You can be as passionate as you like, but if we could just have a little different vocabulary, it would help my beeper. Do y'all not like each other?
No, actually, I've never had any problems.
That is so funny.
Are you going to let me talk?
She has
Are you going to let me talk?
Time
Are you going to let me talk?
How nice of a person
Are you going to let me talk?
How much I have
Are
my
you gonna
stuff
let me
together.
talk?
Clearly not. So.
Yeah, you guys, she's been cool with her this whole time.
I
didn't see any of this. Shot pimps with guns to my head when that never even happened.
The whole entire time you've been nothing but nice to me. You said I'm the only good influence in Ivy's life. I have my life together. I have my own car. I have a job.
Okay, stop.
Look,
listen.
Okay.
What?
You got your car towed and Ivy had to get it out for you. You don't have the money to get it out.
We're going to talk about Ivy's past traumatic childhood experiences and how they might play a part in how she behaves as a parent today and what choices that she makes today. And we'll discuss all of that when we come back, because my goal is to change the course of events for this 4-year-old. We'll be right back. Did you ask her how to be an escort?
It wasn't because I actually wanted to be an escort.
You called me stressing out like, dude, I need money.
I could figure out how to be a hoe if I wanted to.
That's how she really feels about me.
Closed captioning provided by...
Oh, hey there, darling, let me count on you. The road is long and I'm scared what I might find. I'll be safe by my side, ain't nothing out there can't take it stride. I know, you hold me up, so I can fly.
Let's go again. One more.
One more, man?
Oh, man. All right, little bro.
Want more?
Ever wonder why they call it the American dream and not the American goal or plan? Maybe it's because in dreams, you can do anything. In dreams, you can hold your entire world in the palm of your hand and turn time inside out again and again. And you can do it all with your eyes wide open.
Colorful and thoughtful and beautiful. You having your kind of holiday is our kind of holiday. Ulta Beauty. The possibilities are beautiful.
People who come to Cricket stay with Cricket.
Little did we know that switching to Cricket was going to be a major upgrade. The 5G is like fast.
Switch for the speed, stay for the savings. Smile, you're on Cricket.
Do you remember the 25th night of December?
Bring home a spellcasting adventure with the Harry Potter Magicaster wand.
Stupefy!
Connect your smart devices, cast spells, and witness the magic come to life. Lights,
Lumos Maximum.
sounds,
Media loading.
and your TV.
Expecto Patronum. Cool.
The Harry Potter Magicaster wand. Order now.
Next on Love and Marriage Huntsville.
I think I saw an interview, and they asked Mel how she doing with Martell's new boo thing. Oh, she felt probably happier when he was leveling down. But the level up is kind of a gut punch.
Hey, Martell?
Hey, what up? And don't keep me outside all this damn
Yeah,
heat.
it's outside today.
You gonna invite me into that house? Don't play with me like that.
Love and Marriage Huntsville. New episode, Saturday at 8/7 Central.
I'm taking you down bit by bit. I can't wait to see you try. It's only just begun.
I just find it weird that my mom would write into Dr. Phil saying she's like concerned about my lifestyle as an escort. And my mom has never really like sat me down and told me how concerned she was or the gravity of like her feelings.
I've tried everything to get Ivy to understand the path that she has chosen is completely wrong. Nothing works. I haven't been able to get through to her, and nobody else has either.
Now, Faith says she wants her daughter, Ivy, to stop working as an escort and start raising her 4-year-old son. Faith says she's unable to let go of her guilt from the mistakes that she made as a parent. Let's take a look.
I carry a ton of guilt with how Ivy was raised. As a young girl, Ivy was molested for several years.
There was like a lot of chaos in my home. I had a pretty hard childhood.
When Ivy was little, my ex held a knife to her throat. He was arrested and sent to jail. I was told that I could absolutely not see my ex, but the fact is that I did continue to see him. Child Protective Services found out, and Protective Services took Ivy and my son away because I was failing to protect them.
And then I lived in foster cares and then eventually moved in with a family member.
After 4 years, I was able to get Ivy back, but I was never able to get my son. He was put up for adoption.
I was about 12 and I was able to go back and live with my mom. She basically let me do like whatever I wanted. The word no didn't exist.
To this day, the amount of guilt that I carry is completely unbearable.
I know my mom holds a lot of guilt and I feel like she should. She was pretty irresponsible.
What I said to myself at the time, after everything that I did as I failed as a mom, I never wanted her to be mad at me. I never wanted her mad at me again, so I just let her do whatever she wanted. I can't even tell you the amount of guilt I have, the
So you
mistakes that I
were
made.
parenting from guilt, because according to Ivy, you're right. You never said no. There was no curfew. You allowed marijuana and alcohol at 12. You allowed her to date this 20-something at 13, 14. You allowed sex at 14. She says you always chose men first, and you acted more like a friend and a sister than a mother because you didn't want her to be upset with anything, so you didn't want to be an authority figure. She says you're very lenient with your grandson. You do accept the escort money, kind of his child support. And this is something that was part of the tape piece. You maintained a relationship with the predator that molested your daughter.
She still does to this day.
That's not true.
You have a man that you know molested your daughter beginning at the age of 3, and that gets found out, confronted. He holds a knife to her throat, and then you say, I continued the relationship with him because I was, quote, hung up on him.
I don't think I said it that casually. I think that I more said that that relationship was like literally like an addiction for me, like a heroin addict or something like that. I could not break free of that relationship, obviously. I love her. I would never want all this to happen. I just had problems.
You know, I look at the generational legacy here, and you were an exotic dancer in your 20s, right?
I was.
You take money from her escorting. Did you ask her at one point how to be an escort?
I did, but it wasn't because I actually wanted to be an escort.
She was just hard up and needed money.
No, that's not I was trying to get you to realize the gravity of what you're doing. And you would be like, oh my gosh.
Well, that's the first time you're telling me this till today. You called me stressing out like, dude, I need money, I need money.
I'm a very bright person. I could figure out how to be a hoe if I wanted to.
And that's the truth that comes out. True colors right there. That's how she really feels about me.
Faith's sister Hope says her niece Ivy needs to step up as a mother or lose her child, which is obviously in the cards. We'll be right back.
I think Faith needs some very strict boundaries with Ivy. My sister needs to step up to the plate and lay down the law.
Closed captioning provided by...
There is nothing hotter than real, honest to goodness love.
Mama wanna tell you where it's at. I wanna get that.
I was made for this.
Get with it or get lost. You dropped the ball big time.
I'm throwing y'all my very own Miami yacht party.
It just shook up all of the dynamics.
Y'all ready for this?
I'm the nutcracker in your kid's holiday show. And I want all eyes on me, which means getting every moment of your kid is gonna be tough. Woo! Showbiz, yeah! And unless your portable devices are protected, well, this moment, it never happened.
Protect your portable electronics from holiday mayhem with a Walmart Protection Plan by Allstate. Available at Walmart and Walmart.com.
Who needs rehearsals? Scram.
Let's go again. One more.
One more, man?
Oh, man. All right, little bro.
Want more?
At Domino's, we appreciate those who get off the couch to pick up the pizza.
Be right back.
In our eyes, you're a carry-out hero.
It's a pull, sweetie.
And to recognize your efforts, we're tipping you $3 for picking up your online carry-out order at Domino's.
This is exactly why we chose Leaf Filter.
Before Leaf Filter, our gutters would get so clogged.
I used to have to climb up on that roof.
Leaf Filter was a lifesaver. The Leaf Filter installation process was so simple and easy.
When the salesman gave us interest-free financing and the price was right, it was a no-brainer.
Our downspouts flow freely now.
My home is better protected.
Thank you, Leaf Filter.
Call 833-LEAF-FILTER or go to getleaffilter.com for your free gutter inspection and estimate. Call or log on today and save 15%.
When I first started out as a filmmaker, I didn't want to get into credit cards because I realized I didn't know anything about it and it felt very risky to me. So my friend told me about Chime. I got the credit builder card and it was crazy. I didn't have to worry about interest. I didn't have to worry about fees. It wasn't a credit check. My score is up 80 points. I just finished my feature film and it feels like there's a future ahead. to where we're saving up to buy a house. Look, if I can do it, you can do it too. Join me at Chime.com.
Oh yeah, we need these, no? You know what we do need?
We absolutely needed these.
Introducing Taco Bell's new 7-layer nacho fries.
Next on Love and Marriage Huntsville.
I think I saw an interview, and they asked Mel how she doing with Martell's new boo thing. Oh, she felt probably happier when he was leveling down. But the level up is kind of a gut punch.
Hey, Martell?
Hey, what up? And don't keep me outside all this damn heat.
Yeah, it's outside today.
You gonna invite me into that house? Don't play with me like that.
Love and Marriage Huntsville. New episode, Saturday at 8, 7 Central.
Well, Faith's sister Hope says Faith needs to start setting boundaries, cracking down on rules with Ivy, and Ivy needs to step up as a mother, or she says she's going to lose her child. Take a look.
The situation has affected the entire family. I'm very concerned for my niece Ivy and for her younger son. If I were to try to talk to Ivy about the situation, she would get angry and probably stop talking to me. Ivy believes that doing the job in the evening time isn't bad because then she can still be a mom during the day. I'm a mother of 3 children. If Ivy thinks that she has an idea of what it is to be a good mom, I really don't think at this point that she does. I really don't think that she has the maturity right now to see the effect that this has had on her son. What her son needs is a permanent, stable home. I think Faith needs some very strict boundaries with Ivy. My sister needs to step up to the plate and lay down the law so her grandson can have a normal life.
Okay, thank you for joining us.
Yes.
Your comments have to do with how she is raising this child.
Right.
How your sister's raising this child.
Yes.
And you say she needs to do what?
I think that she needs to be more bold and just more stern because she is very, just kind of lays down and lets him walk all over her.
The same thing she did with me.
I think that it's exactly the same thing that she did with Ivy, if not worse, because she feels so bad for the situation or feels guilty.
Well, what do you think needs to happen for your son to have the best chance that he can have to be successful in this life?
He needs me in his life way more than I've been.
What are you willing to do to make that come true?
I'm willing to do anything so I can be the best mom I can be for him.
Well, that begins with being present.
Yeah.
Because you can't parent a child without being there.
Yeah.
You know, to say, I would die for my child, and you would, wouldn't you? You would die for this child.
Mm-hmm.
But the question is, will you live for this child? Not would you die for the child, not would you step in front of an oncoming bus and push him out of the way. I have no doubt that you would. The question is, will you make sacrifices day to day to live for this child? Will you tell yourself no in order to tell him yes? I would rather have you working with an exciting career in the fast food industry and living in a shelter with your son than I would have you hooking and him being raised by somebody else. Because all your son knows is whether he can fall asleep at night or take a nap in the afternoon, laying his head on your chest. That's what he knows. He doesn't know whether he's in a 10,000 square foot penthouse or a bunk in the corner of a shelter. What he knows is home is where his mother is, and his mother is not there.
I'm always on point, from my hair, to my style, to my yard. But let's be real, I can't be at my best if my health is slacking. More people have been hospitalized from Omicron than from any other variant. So I got an updated COVID vaccine. It protects against the original COVID virus and Omicron. I stay up to date so I can stay on point for the ones I love.
Are you ready for a fresh new bath or shower? Well, now is the best time with 50% off installation, free fixtures, and no interest and no payments for 1 year. Hi, I'm Christina, and it's time to flip your old worn out bath or shower with Jacuzzi Bath Remodel today. Everyone knows the Jacuzzi brand, but did you know they can install a gorgeous bath or shower that feels incredible in as little as 1 day? Now that's the total bathroom beauty that I love at a price you can afford. With one call to Jacuzzi Bath Remodel, you can effortlessly transform that old, ugly eyesore into the stunning bath or shower of your dreams that you'll love for years to come.
Call or go online to jacuzzibathremodel.com to get up to 50% off installation, and you may qualify for no interest and no payments for 12 months. Plus, we're including free fixtures. Go to jacuzzibathremodel.com. or call 800-990-3706. Call now.
Colorful and thoughtful and beautiful. You having your kind of holiday is our kind of holiday. Ulta Beauty. The possibilities are beautiful.
Hi, I'm Susan. I've lost 84 pounds on Golo, and I've kept it off for a year. I'd spent so much money on other products, and when I saw the commercial for Golo, the price was so much cheaper, and I thought, boy, this might not work, but why not try it? It is amazing, and it works really well.
Real, honest to goodness love.
Mama wanna tell you where it's at. I wanna get that.
I was made for this. Y'all ready for this?
I feel like I've lost my daughter. If things don't change and she doesn't turn it around, I feel like this may be the end of the line for us. She just has no direction, no plan.
I do feel like I'm a good parent. I want what's best for my son. I would like for her to understand the reason I am doing what I'm doing is so that I can be in a good position to take care of my son so I can get on my feet.
I want to point out some statistics to you about the industry that you're in. The workplace homicide rate, people getting killed doing what you're doing, is 51 times higher than any other job you can have.
That's crazy.
The overall mortality rate is 240 times higher. Not just that you get killed, just that you wind up dead. You're 4.5 times more likely to attempt suicide, and 70 to 95% are physically assaulted during work. You already have been, so you're part of that statistic. 60 to 75% are raped 8 to 10 times a year while prostituting. And if you love your son, and I know you do, I believe that you do, then you would protect his mother. And you're putting his mother in harm's way, and that is reckless, negligent, and really selfish.
Not being a good mom.
You're not taking care of him when you're putting his mother in that kind of risk. You agree with that, don't you?
Yeah, I definitely
And you've been
do
telling her
agree.
that.
Yeah, I tell her all the time because what other people probably don't know is I'm not in the same situation as Ivy. I have a job. I live with my mom. My mom's in my business like nobody else is, you know. I pay my car payment, you know. I do what I have to do. So it does really hurt my feelings to see Ivy in the situation that she's in. And it is extremely, extremely dangerous. And the way people treat people in that profession is just like garbage. And she doesn't deserve that, but Ivy will tell you herself, she doesn't think she deserves better.
Somewhere along the lines, and I know that it lies with me, I communicated to her that she was worth nothing. And that's not really how I feel. She is so valuable, and she is so important, and she has so much potential. And I just want to apologize for my errors as a mom. And I hope that from here forward, we could come together.
Yeah.
You were not taught to value yourself, and you've passed that on to you, and you will pass that on to your son unless something happens to change that parental legacy. Ivy's entire family came here to set her straight. Well, we're going to talk about how that's possible. I mean, and this getting set straight is a family issue. This isn't an Ivy issue. This is a family issue. After the break. Closed captioning provided by...
Next on Love and Marriage Huntsville.
I think I saw an interview, and they asked Mel how she doing with Martell's new boo thing. Oh, she felt probably happier when he was leveling down. But the level up is kind of a gut punch.
Hey, Martell?
Hey, what up? And don't keep me outside all this damn
Yeah,
heat.
it's outside today.
You gonna invite me to that house? Don't play with me like that.
Love and Marriage Huntsville. New episode, Saturday at 8/7 Central.
Your heart is the beat of life. If you have heart failure, entrust your heart to Entresto, a medicine specifically made for heart failure. Entresto is the #1 heart failure brand prescribed by cardiologists. It was proven superior at helping people stay alive and out of the hospital. Heart failure can change the structure of your heart, so it may not work as well. Entresto helps improve your heart's ability to pump blood to the body. And just imagine where a healthier heart could take you. Don't take Entresto if pregnant. It can cause harm or death to an unborn baby. Don't take Entresto with an ACE inhibitor or aliskiren, or if you've had angioedema with an ACE or ARB. The most serious side effects are angioedema, low blood pressure, kidney problems, or high blood potassium. Ask your doctor about Entresto for heart failure. And trust your heart to Entresto.
And now please welcome Anna Montoya.
Hello there, fellow students.
Is Angel Soft an ideal balance of softness and strength? This mom thinks so.
All done?
Yep.
Positive?
Yes.
No more?
Yep.
Good job.
Go again.
New Angel Soft, now 20% thicker.
Let's go again. One more.
One more, man?
Oh, man. All right, little bro.
Want more? Colorful and thoughtful and beautiful. You having your kind of holiday is our kind of holiday. Ulta Beauty. The possibilities are beautiful.
There is nothing hotter than real, honest to goodness love.
Mama wanna tell you where it's at. I wanna get that.
I was made for this.
Get with it or get lost.
You dropped the ball big time.
I'm throwing y'all my very own Miami yacht party.
It just shook up all of the dynamics.
Y'all ready for this?
You have been hurt in your life. You have open wounds from what happened to you, and nobody has ever attended to those. Nobody has ever helped you heal those wounds inside so that you can say different things to yourself, so that your internal dialogue can be different. And I'm going to get you some professional help, and not just some general psychological help. There is very specialized help available. People that specialize in helping folks that have survived the trauma that you have survived. And you need that, and you deserve that. And then knowing, I sacrificed for my son, I healed myself for my son, and I can lead him through this life. And you're going to like that a whole lot better than what you're doing now, because you don't like yourself now doing what you're doing. But that can change, and I'm going to get you that help starting right away. Okay? And I'm going to do exactly the same thing for you, because you are as wounded as she is. And you two can help each other. You can either help each other circle the drain and go down and drag that little boy with you, or you can help each other climb up out of this muck and forgive each other for what you have done to damage each other, and grow together as women of strength in this world. And that's what I want to happen for the two of you. So I'm going to make those arrangements. Fair enough? Okay. All right. I want to thank all of my guests today. We'll see you next time.
Hi, I'm Anthony Haskins. I'm the resource director here, and Dr. Phil wants each of you to get in line with a therapist who has a specialization in dealing with past trauma. We're going to work on setting that up for you in your community. Do you want that help?
I do.
Okay, and do you?
Yes, absolutely.
We want to start helping you guys put a plan together to where you can create the life that you really would want for yourselves. You need to find a way for meaningful employment. You need to find a way to take care of yourself physically, emotionally, mentally, and to heal some of the wounds.
Mama, it's okay.
It hurts. Everything that comes out hurts. It hurts really bad to know just that this is our reality. And I'm just super thankful. Like, this is exactly what I wanted.
Today on an all-new Dr. Phil.
I am the wife of Tyler Perry.
She's never met him.
Her daughter's claim of fake Tyler Perry.
He has scammed her out of a lot of money.
Is conning their mom.
So you are married to Tyler Perry?
Yes, I am. Via video, he proposed to me.
So you saw him?
No, I didn't see him. I have not seen him face to face.
Whenever she's about to get on a video chat with him, it's a black screen. The real Tyler Perry will not put you through all of this.
It's possible that he's not real, right?
He's real.
But it's possible.
He's real.
It's possible.
It is not possible that he's fake.
Let's do it.
Have a good show, everybody. Here we go.
This is a safe place to talk about hard things.
Stand by. We'll count you down.
Today's going to be a changing day in your life.
5, 4.
I am not giving up on you. Today is a little different because I received an urgent, anonymous message requesting help for a woman named Carla who believes she's married to celebrity Tyler Perry and claims he is the father of 2 of her children, and she is the biological mother of Perry's 3-year-old son. Now think through that for a minute. She claims that she is the biological mother of his 3-year-old son. Now, how would you miss that? She claims she talks to the industry legend almost every day via online chats and texting, and has been helping him with some major issues. In fact, she claims she sent the star close to $100,000 because, for one thing, his plane needed repair, and he needed to fund some work projects. Now, you may have guessed by now that Carla has never really even met Tyler Perry, the man she claims is the love of her life. Now, both of her daughters say they have exhausted all of their options trying to get their mother to face that she is being scammed here. Take a look.
My parents got divorced 4 years ago.
My mom was very lonely. She was on a Tyler Perry fan page on Facebook. She started scrolling through it, liking everything.
This person reached out to her claiming to be Tyler Perry, and he stated that they'd known each other since they were children.
He started telling her, "You're beautiful, I love you, baby, and I'm here for you."
We've been communicating a long time. He says, "I will forever love you, baby. In everything you do, you are a lifesaver."
She's never spoken with him. She's never met him.
They've only communicated through text. Anytime he has tried to video chat her, it is a blank screen. It is black. At some point, Tyler Perry asked my mother to marry him and that they have an actual legal document stating that they are married. But she has never seen this legal document. The real Tyler Perry has a 2-year-old child, and this fake Tyler Perry has convinced my mother that she is the biological mother of the real Tyler Perry's son. She has not given an explanation as to how that could have possibly happened.
The situation has gone so far to make my mother believe that one of her children, being me, is the offspring of Tyler Perry. That's outlandish because I know who my father is. It's just ridiculous.
He really has been able to really get to her head and to make her think that she's gonna have this great dream life one day.
Now, both Courtney and Kelly agree that their mother's life is going downhill fast ever since she fell head over heels for her online love. Take a look.
Ever since this Tyler Perry has come into my mother's life, he basically has ruined her life completely. This Tyler Perry asked my mother on multiple occasions to send him money so we can have it for charities. She sent him money approximately 50 times.
$500 here, $1,000 there, $2,000 there.
For a total amount of $100,000.
They would all be through either MoneyGram or Western Union.
He wanted her to send some money to an African address, and that just told us something right there that, you know, this guy has to be someone in another foreign country. Since this relationship has begun, she has lost her job.
She sold her house, assuming that Tyler Perry was going to have this luxurious lifestyle waiting for her, this mansion, money out the wazoo.
She has been living off of her 401k to support herself.
My mom is almost on her last dime.
Because this Tyler Perry has put her in this position, she has lost the custody of her 2 youngest children, my brother and sister, ages 12 and 17. It has torn the family apart. Me and my siblings have all tried to convince my mother that this Tyler Perry is not real.
No matter what we say, she won't believe that she's being scammed. She believes everything that comes out of his mouth. It's Tyler Perry and her against the world.
Okay, I'm glad to meet you guys, and I wish it had been a little sooner, but I'm glad it's now instead of later. How is this happening? I mean, you know your mother. I mean, she's an intelligent woman. She's worked for Homeland Security for 24 years. This is a bright, discerning, intelligent, sophisticated woman.
Yes.
So how do you explain this to yourselves?
Well, I will say that it has happened in the time of her vulnerability from divorce with our father. So I would say that tipped her off the edge, and she has really been in a vulnerable state. She has felt lonely, and she has been hurt by all of these situations.
Right.
And
now, when was the divorce versus when she started communicating with this individual?
so I would say the divorce, they got separated probably like 2013, 2014, and so they started communicating a few months after that. So I would say like late 2014, early 2015.
So she really was vulnerable at that time,
Yes.
kind of on the rebound, empty,
Yes.
looking for validation, perhaps, in some way.
Right, and that's what this person saw her at her vulnerability state and took advantage of her in every way.
And she won't listen to you.
No matter what we do, she will not listen, understand at all that this person is scamming her.
This is happening on Facebook to begin with.
Yes.
And everybody knows if you're at all on Facebook, a blue check shows that the profile is authentic. It's this blue check right here means that this has been verified and is authentic. They know that it's Tyler Perry. And over here, there is no blue check. And then when you go look at the people's friends on here, when you start checking on them, they're not real people. they're like empty accounts. They don't have any friends, they don't have any background, there's nothing behind them. It's all made up. And we have to fight this stuff. I've had as many as 19 fake Dr. Phil profiles up. Right now there are 5 as of this morning. They'll be gone by the end of the day, and then they'll pop back up tomorrow. People just put up these fake profiles. They put them up for Robin all the time and scam people. And so that's what she got onto. They hijack his picture, they put it up there, and so she thinks that that's the real guy because it's his real picture, right?
And we've reported like these pages like number of times, but like you said, they pop back up the next day or the next week, and they just keep coming back.
There's other suspicious behavior that you've pointed out to her. According to the daughters, well, there's this unverified Facebook page. He speaks in broken English.
Yes.
He won't meet.
Not at all.
He's asking for money.
Yes.
He claims that the new child that he has, who's 3, is Carla's via a surrogate,
Yes.
meaning that her eggs have been harvested, implanted in a surrogate,
Right.
and then born. And her explanation for that is, I really don't know how that happened, but I
Right.
believe it did.
Right. Everything that's on the list, we have went through, of course, the unverified Facebook page. We have told her and showed her through the text message between them that, as you can see, there's broken English and won't meet. So whenever she says that she's about to get on a phone call with him or a video chat with him, he says, okay, I'm ready. And whenever they get on there, it's a black screen. He will not say anything one time. She tries to talk to him, hello, I'm here. He won't reply. And as far as the money, yes, there's numerous stories of her sending money to him because he says that it's going to different charities.